Welcome! Today, we're diving into the Qur'an, but maybe in a way you've never looked at it before. Forget reading it just from front to back. Think of it more like a divine treasure map. We're going to explore how its verses, which can sometimes feel scattered, are actually hidden threads, just waiting for us to weave them together into one single breathtaking story. So, let's start the hunt. Right off the bat, the Qur'an throws down this challenge, but it's also a promise. It's basically saying, go ahead, reflect deeply, put me to the test. The claim is incredible. If you really look, you won't find contradictions. You'll find a perfectly unified system. This verse, this is our key, and our journey starts right now. So here's the big mindset shift we need to make. We're not reading a simple storybook where A leads to B leads to C. Not at all. We need to see it for what it is, a cosmic puzzle. It's a giant, interconnected web of clues. And every single piece you find and connect reveals an even bigger, more profound picture of reality. Okay, so this leads us to a really fascinating idea. Why does the Qur'an sometimes feel like its topics are all over the place? You might be reading about one prophet, and then suddenly it shifts. Well, what if that scattering isn't random? What if it's a brilliant and deliberate design? And check this out. The Qur'an itself tells us this is completely intentional. This diversification of examples, this scattering, it's a feature, not a bug. It's designed to do something really important. It turns you, the reader, from just a passive listener into an active seeker, someone who has to engage, reflect, and connect the dots for themselves. So let's give this a name, right? We'll call it the scattering principle. This is the core idea for today. It's the concept that related signs and stories aren't all neatly bundled in one place. Instead, they're scattered like jewels across a huge field, inviting only the most sincere among us to go out and find them, to assemble the hidden pattern. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, you've got your standard linear reading, chapter 1, then chapter 2, and so on. But on the right, that's where the magic happens. Thematic clue hunting. This is where you become a detective, following a single idea across the entire landscape of the Quran to see the amazing, unified story it's telling. Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this actually work in practice? Let's get our hands dirty and put it to the test. We're going to take one single powerful symbol and trace its story across the whole book, and that symbol is the staff. All right, now follow this thread with me. It's amazing. First, you've got Prophet Musa's staff. It's a tool of pure divine power, and it literally swallows the illusions of the magicians. Then that same staff parts the Red Sea, a symbol of ultimate salvation. Fast forward centuries later, and you have Prophet Suleiman's staff. It represents his vast worldly kingdom, but it's secretly being hollowed out by a tiny creature, and then it just collapses. And finally, the symbol evolves into its highest form, the pen, the very instrument that writes down eternal truth. So when you pull all those scattered pieces together, what's the one story they're actually telling? Well, by connecting them, we uncover this incredibly deep parable about the very nature of truth versus illusion. Now, when connected, these verses reveal a stunning interpretation. The staff becomes a metaphor for authority. And Shaitan's power? It's just like Suleiman's hollow staff. It looks solid, it looks powerful, but it's nothing more than a crutch of false reliance. And when the tiny worm of true faith eats away at that reliance, his whole kingdom of whispers just shatters into dust. So you see what's happening here? The staff isn't just one thing. It's a symbol that grows and evolves as you follow its thread. It starts as a tool of pure, God-given authority with Musa. Then, it serves as a powerful lesson about false, hollow, worldly authority with Suleiman. And ultimately, it evolves into its highest, most sublime form, the pen, the instrument of eternal truth itself. But what if these connections are more than just beautiful literary themes? What if we're only scratching the surface? The framework we're looking at today suggests there's an even deeper layer here, an underlying mathematical structure, woven right into the very fabric of the Qur'an. And just so we're on the same page, what we're about to explore comes from a specific analytical framework. This framework proposes that these scattered jewels don't just form a pretty picture, they form a coherent cosmic system, and that system is locked and sealed by a mathematical code. And the key that supposedly unlocks this entire code? It's the number 19. According to this lens of analysis, this number appears over and over again as a kind of seal, a structural marker that proves the text's divine authorship. And the examples of this pattern are, well, they're pretty striking. Get this, the total number of chapters, 114, is 19 times 6. The very first revelation to the prophet, it has exactly 19 verses. You see things like this consistently, acting almost like a structural signature throughout the entire book. But listen, according to this framework, it's not just about numbers for the sake of numbers. They actually tell a story. This analysis identifies a 3-6-9 pattern as the grand narrative arc of the entire Qur'an. It's the story of humanity, from the pride that led to the fall, to the knowledge sent down for our correction, and finally to the day of judgment that will split truth from falsehood forever. Okay, so we've gone from literary threads all the way to this grand cosmic code. That's a lot. So let's bring this all the way back down to earth. What can you actually do with all this? How can you start your own hunt for these hidden threads? I'm going to give you a super simple 3-step tool you can literally start using this week. It's so easy. First, just pick a keyword that interests you. Second, use any Qur'an search app or website and just gather every single verse where that word appears. And third, this is the fun part. Read all of those verses together, as if they were one single chapter, and just reflect on the deeper, unified story they're trying to tell you. And if you're wondering where to even begin, here are some absolutely incredible starting points. Each one of these keywords, light, water, fire, the robe, is like a doorway into a much deeper story. Each one is a new way of seeing the Qur'an's hidden unity. And this really brings us full circle, doesn't it? Back to the central message of our exploration today. The Qur'an is one story, but its clues were deliberately scattered so that only those who sincerely seek the light will have the patience and the heart to put them all together. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. This journey of reflection, it's infinite. The threads are all there, waiting in the book. The only question that's left is, what hidden threads are waiting for you to find?